The murder of one's family is a strong motivation for vengeance, but the death of a loved one can also lend itself to despair and loss of the will to live. Loen Stalric had lost his wife less than a month before his children, but her illness had afflicted her for years before. The weakness, vomiting and pains confined her to bed. This tale takes place shortly before the death of Aleya Stalric. Loen was working in the field with Mattis and Waylon, and Mara was working in the house, helping her mother dress.
It's beautiful today. I did not expect spring this early.
You didn't expect to see it, did you?
I suppose not, but yet, here it is. And here we are.
It's rare to see you have your expectations met.
That makes it all the more wondrous when they are. The universe is unfathomable, and its maker more so. Do not ascribe man's petty nature and expectations to man's creator.
When has this creator given us any reason to see him in any other light?
Tempting as it may be to only see the bitterness, Mara, you drew breath this morning. You saw the beauty of spring around you. You are young and strong, and your family all love you dearly. What are these, if not indications that not all is wrong in this world?
Well meant were these words. It is simply harder to believe them when the broken nature of the world seems to disprove the very possibility of gods, and when the gods themselves fear men.
Mara, I wish to pluck flowers from the river for the evening meal. Run along and bring water to your brothers and father in the field.
Mara, seeing that her mother wished her scarce, left the cottage. The rolling hills offered shade from a more unforgiving sun, and so Mara betook herself to the foot of a hill and laid down. Grief can express itself in many ways: denial, anger, hate, fear, and many more. But a common and acceptable form of it is tears and despair. Mara was helpless. Her mother was dying, and no living man or woman could help. Tears flowed freely. Knowing what is known now, this moment was a pivotal one in the tragedy that befell Loen, and yet one could not picture the horrors that this innocent moment would bring. A girl mourning a mother she had not yet lost.
The tears that stream and lies that bind, such things are better left behind.
In a perfect circle around Mara, the grass burned away. The heat was stifling and the air went still. Mara's tears evaporated before they could trickle down her face. With a scream of pain and fear, Mara leapt to her feet and ran back towards the house.
Silence, child! Stand still.
Like snuffing out a candle, all sunlight disappeared. Mara froze. The burning heat lessened ever so slightly.
Why tears, child?
Why not? My loved ones are in pain.
Hopelessness can be expected, but not tolerated. Remediate the problem. Do not become it.
When man can cure death, I shall then make an effort.
The blow the Sun Master struck drove Mara into the ground. He towered over her. Eyes blazing, he lifted her face to meet his.
I can tolerate foolishness only so long. What do you seek? How is it hopeless?
My mother is dying, and I can do nothing. No one can. Father works in the fields, fearing to return home. To find her dead, my brothers pretend like it's nothing.
You seek the life of a loved one.
Don't we all long to have our loved ones close to us for all time?
Desire, longing, these are pitiful remedies for the power to bring them true.
I beg of you, leave me be. Let me wake from this nightmare. My mother will have need of me.
Child, the most important things come from dreams. I do not possess the power to bring back the dead, but I may do you this favor. Your mother might not die from her current ailments.
It does no good to give money when one is dying, or to offer clothes when one is starving. Offering a remedy for a poison while ignoring the gaping wound from which gushes lifeblood. But when one is falling with no hope, they are left to grasp at straws for survival. Such a one was Mara.
How? How can she survive this?
That is my knowledge alone. Suffice to say, your mother will not die from her ailments. but know that I do not offer services for sheer kindness' sake. What may I expect?
I would offer anything.
Accepted, then. I will return to claim my prize in due time.
Light returned to Mara's world. As though the whole world had held its breath at the arrival of this being, things seemed to suddenly jump back into motion. Birds that had broken off in their song picked back up. Mara shivered. She could not decide what had happened, but a heavy weight settled more firmly around her shoulders, inexplicable, but no less painful for its sudden nature. The next day, Mara woke to the sound of her mother retching. Fearing the worst, she rose from her bed and walked to her. Aleya's smile was weak. Her face was ashen and her hands clammy. She was trembling.
I don't want to go.
Mara was a child. Loss was one thing, but the anticipation was one of the most terrible. Mara turned from her mother. She couldn't stay. She had to run. Mara found herself at the foot of the same hill. The burnt grass served as a reminder of the one that had visited her, offering her mother safety from her illness.
You promised me! You said she would live!
I offered to ensure that she did not die from her ailment, and she will not. I made a promise with you, and you with me. I do not break my promises so easily.
Then why is she still ill?
Child, I do not cure the ill. I remove the weak. Your mother is weak, and thus not fit for life. She will die quicker than her ailment would have ended her.
The simplest things in life have the most unexpected consequences. Aleya had watched Mara leave and tried to stand up from her bed. She was weak, and a poorly placed step sent her falling forwards. Aleya's head struck the stone floor. Mara knew something was amiss. She could almost sense her mother's sudden, violent fall. She turned to her tormentor.
What have you done?
I honored our deal. Your mother will not die from her ailment. I expect nothing less than honor from you in turn.
Mara turned from the monster. Tears streamed down her face and she began to run. Mara did not stop running until she made it home. She saw Waylon walking back from the fields.
Waylon, get father. It's mother.
Mara did not know what she would see when she entered the house, but she knew what had happened. With a choked sob, she opened the front door. Aleya was struggling to push herself off the floor. Blood pooled around her head where it had struck the ground. Her movements were feeble.
Mara, is that you?
Mama, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
Mara, I was not going to live to see next week. This means my suffering ends sooner.
But this is my doing. Had I stayed here, I wish I were dead too.
Mara, live, darling. The loss of those we love should not drive us to inflict the same sorrow on others. Your father and brothers will need you. Mara, you are stronger than this. Your whole life you have been shackled to my bedside, and I pray you know how thankful I am. But now you are free.
I would rather spend 1,000 lives at your side than one life alone.
Life is seldom what you want, and yet never make it the reason to surrender. Force it to work for you. Out of forges like this are great weapons made.
Loen Stalric entered the lowly dwelling. His fists shook and his brow shone with sweat. Mattis and Waylon stood outside, wide-eyed.
My love, it seems our time was cut short.
Aleya, I'm sorry. I could not bear this.
And so you stood away from your wife as she languished. Some part of me wishes to hate you for it, Loen. But I love you all the same. I forgive you, my love.
Aleya, please. Please do not leave me.
And yet, I did always strive to show you that your desires are not always in your best interest. I wish we had more time, but I know that this is how things must be. I love...
Aleya could not finish her sentence, but her eyes spoke for her. She loved her husband, her daughter, and her sons. She always had. Aleya's breathing stilled. Loen's shoulders shook as he looked down at his wife. Mara's sobs filled the room. Waylon and Mattis both stood by her, adding their sorrow to hers. Aleya Stalric had fallen in love with Loen as a child. She had always been frail and he had always cared for her. He had known he would lose her long before he would reach old age. Their love had been tender. He had spent his younger years visiting her with her family and always bringing some of the outdoors to her. Loen had not expected children when marrying Aleya, but when she was caring for someone or something was when she was at her strongest. And so 3 children were born to them. Oh, if I had but seen this scene, I would not have then killed the family of the recent widower. Loen's life had not been easy, but especially not now. And yet, it is worse than I have admitted. I am more responsible than I wish to say. Aleya was buried the next day. Loen buried her near the orchard. The weeks passed in a blur for the family as life resumed, but not for Mara. Her dreams were plagued with the one that had claimed a bond from her.
I claim my debt, Mara Stalric. Surrender to me, lest my next strike be more pointed. Perhaps a brother, mayhaps a father.
You cannot have them. Have you not taken enough? You have given me suffering. You've given me guilt. When is it enough?
When you give into the promises you made.
Your promise was a lie. You knew my hopes, my true desire, what I longed for. You gave me hope only to tear it away.
That deceit is the only reason that I am still unable to claim you as mine. The reason I demand your surrender. But Mara, my next promise shall be much more painful.
I will not give you my pain. I shall carry it to my grave.
Then hear my decree, Mara Stalric. When the month is out, I shall end the life of your brothers, and your father shall be mine. This promise I make willingly, but I shall hold back my wrath only when you have submitted.
Thus was Mara's awakening. Sweat matted her hair. She shook in fear, in pain. It was hopeless. She could not resist forever. And now he threatened more. When she rose from bed, Mara's first thoughts were to help her mother rise from her own. But that burden was no longer there, and the pain from this loss was too much. Out to the hills once again Mara ran. She fell, she rose and ran again. She tripped, but she had to run, and she never wished to stop. At last she had to stop, gasping for breath. Pain from the running, pain from the sobs, pain in ways that no child of her age should ever have to suffer.
I want peace. I want it all to end. Just end the suffering and kill me.
Where would the fun be in that?
Beside Mara, standing under a small tree, a young, well-dressed gentleman stood. He smiled at her as she faced him.
I'm sorry, sir. I didn't know you were here.
The apologies are mine, child. I had no intention of disturbing you, but the pain in your voice and the violent nature of your thoughts provoked me to intervene, if I could.
Should you know the pain I know, you would most likely wish the same, though I am sorry that you heard it.
And yet, what would lead someone of your age to beg for such a gruesome thing?
Mara knew not the man that spoke to her, yet she felt as if she could trust him. The comfort she felt in his presence was not easily shaken. She resolved to tell him what she had experienced.
Sir, I fear that I have brought myself into a grave error. I have made a bargain with one when I did not know the price.
When one begins a journey, they must count the cost before and not after. What did you lose in the bargain?
I lost my mother. and I stand to lose my brothers and father should I not uphold my end.
The stranger's eyes flashed for a moment. Whether sorrow, interest, or something more, Mara did not know.
The fear you have is misplaced, is it not?
What do you mean, sir?
Well, that you cannot help but surrender. You may hate it with every fiber of your being, but is it not better than losing the ones you love? Child, I mean not to degrade the loss or suffering behind the bargain, but you seem to have already been forced to a decision. Even should your family be the scourge of the land, worthy of death, people like us would sacrifice our lives in a heartbeat to spare them even a moment of suffering. Look at the valley around us. You and I both know that the blades of grass that grow here are not the same as the blades that grew the year before. And so those of last year are not the same. And yet, those that grow now would not exist had the previous year's growth not gone to their grave. They may go willingly, but still, there is loss. For the months of winter are still barren. You may well be the blade of grass from a time long past. It may be that you have been called to wither and fade before your time, as it would seem your mother has. But you are not treasured because you live a long life. You are treasured by others for what you did in the life you had.
Mara's next words still haunt me.
My family will scarcely notice my loss.
Bitter as that is, it makes the next step easier, does it not?
I lack the power to turn back time, to place myself between the child and the one that pushed her to her ultimate end. Oh, that I was gifted with the machinations and control of temporal existence. But one far more dangerous wields that, and I dare not ask for such a favour. So I watch, helpless as the child with a remarkable fortitude caves to the man of shadows, the one that serves the sun. Mara nodded her thanks to the stranger. He turned his way to Polehaven, where a certain nobleman Garrel lived, and who he was then to slay. Mara stepped back to her home, finding herself alone. No ailing mother leaning on her for every need. Silent tears ran down Mara's cheeks, and she seated herself beside her mother's bed. Like her father soon would, she made a terrible bond, but more limiting than his.
I accept the bond I swore. Though made in ill faith, I shall not suffer the death of my family if I can avoid it. I offer myself if it can save my father and brothers.
I make no promises for complete safety, but I shall do my utmost. When the time comes, no harm shall come to you, and none to your father. This I offer for as long as you remain my host. As for your brothers, well, should they have the strength, they may yet live.
Mara had surrendered, and the first step of my adversary's plan was in place. It started slowly, slight interjections upon her time or thoughts. Fire began to fill her mind. She found dark thoughts as the days went on. The morning she awoke from her sleep with blood upon her dress was the morning when she knew she had gone too far. Out to the meadow she returned. Part of her hoped she would be able to meet the man that had encouraged her to give in. Perhaps he had more words of comfort to provide her. Instead, she found nothing. There was an empty orchard. The wind was warm and dry as though a fire was nearby. She groaned aloud.
Mara, your complaints are not fitting. You surrendered to me. Do not resist my call for obedience.
What did I do last night? Who have I hurt?
You merely did what was necessary to set the stage for my return. You still resist me, child. You are no fitting host, but you may still be my weapon.
There's blood on my clothes. What have I done?
You merely killed a well-known villager in Winlaven, a man named Willen.
Mara was frozen. 1 second of time passed. All of her natural inclinations to disagree To shout back rebuttal flowed through her, but she knew. Deep down she knew what she had done, and with the acknowledgement, she remembered. Mara had walked all the way to Winlaven in the night. She had made her way to Willen's dwelling, where she found him writing a letter. A sharp rap on his door startled him. In moments he had the door open, looking down at her in concern and surprise.
Child, what ails you to come to my door at this hour? Are you hurt?
The next moments haunted Mara to her dying day, and having been able to see them, I still shudder to recount Mara's violent murder of Willen. She grabbed his hand as though afraid, then she clamped down fiercely. There was a sharp crack as Willen's hand was completely flattened in her grip. Willen screamed in anguish. Mara paid him no heed. Her next attack was directed at his ribcage, and her fist caved in completely. Willen coughed and spat blood in her face. Mara's next attack was her last. Willen, unable to breathe and barely able to stand, tried to back away, but Mara leapt for him. Her hands choked the life out of him. Willen barely struggled. His pain was too great, his shock too much, his mind too focused on his pain. In less than a minute, he was gone. Mara watched him die, then rose. A creak at the door gave Mara no pause as a being of shadow walked inside. He looked familiar, but she could not place him. He walked to the body and removed a blackened blade, stabbing it into Willen's neck. Willen crumpled to ash on the floor, then, as though caught up by the wind, flew from the door in one swift motion.
No! No! I am not that! This is not me. I did not agree to this.
You served your purpose, and you will serve it again, but perhaps in a different manner. Following tonight, by agreeing to my bond, however reluctantly, you agreed to serve me, placing no limit.
No, I shall never serve you again. I shall never kill like that. I refuse. I shall find help. I shall...
And like a flash, Mara knew the being of shadow. It was the man that had encouraged her to surrender to the darkness. I give it a name she had yet to discover. A Shroud. Mara was unable to utter another word, as yet again she was under the control of her master. She lacked control as she made a stew that her mother had made for many years as her specialty. She lacked control while her father left that day, not noticing the blood on her dress. Mara lacked control when he came home again. She felt every word as she responded, as though she truly cared, but she was powerless. She heard her words.
Supper is nearly ready, Father.
Boys, wash up and help your sister.
What news in town, Father?
We'll talk later, Mara. Much has happened.
Do not hold back, Father. I know I am young, but I am doing what I can to help. I cannot help with what I do not know.
No one noticed. No one could have noticed. She sounded like herself, but within, she was as a prisoner. Mara awoke from her nightmare with the crashing of thunder. She stood in the rain, a man with eyes seemingly made of moonlight holding a blade to her. As a whisper in her head, she heard her master speak.
This is unfortunate. I did not think to lose you so quickly. I suppose I can find another, but I had other purposes for you that this buffoon will ruin. Farewell.
Mara Stalric died. Loen's actions remained the same, his unwillingness to accept his children's death, but during his unconsciousness we now look to see what happened to the bodies of his children. A young woman, hair blonde and a look of mischief in her eyes, seemed to materialize into the clearing. She saw each dead child in turn, and each body seemed to fade from existence as though erased, made to never exist as time was altered. But one was allowed to remember. Loen awoke from his nightmare, remembering his children. One last moment to recall before we move on from this nightmare. Mara awoke. Mara had been dead. She was almost certain of it. She felt the blade of the Moon Master cut her down, but then she remembered. Something within her refused to allow death. She remembered a woman appeared and took her someplace else, and now she was in complete darkness.
What new torment have you thrown at me, monster?
No new torment today, my servant.
The voice was frighteningly close. Mara strained to see in the darkness. Then there was light. A large man, muscular, clad in resplendent gold armor and a cape of crimson, stood before her. His eyes glowed with the light of 1,000 suns, and his entire body radiated warmth.
Welcome to the burning, this prison I have been confined to. This is the new home I have chosen to gift you with. I have spared your life, child, and I expect to collect on that debt.
This was another would-be deity. My enemy. The one that viewed himself as the rightful ruler of this planet. I am the reason he was no longer a threat to this world, and with my actions the previous night, he gained a pawn in his attempt to break free.
You are no longer the same useful slave that you have been. Instead, you shall be my bargain. Should your father fail to complete the tasks I require, I will reveal your survival to him and torment you until he gives in.
What did you do?
I gave you a second chance. Make better use of it before I choose to return you to the grave you deserve.
I have made many errors in my life, but this child was only guilty of falling for this monster's temptation. Of all regrets held by those that have dealt with Loen, the greatest we all hold is that his child was made the catalyst for the doom of all that we hold dear. Even now it may be too late. I look to what my younger self was doing to protect himself from Loen. I watched Euro travelling to his churches and using his power to take control of large groups, sending them all after the grieving father. Loen, who still believed his family was dead, now suffered this night as his master raged against his surrender. The child, who had dealt with more pain than should be possible for her, sobbed in fear, in sorrow. She had lost her brothers, her father, her mother, her home, her innocence. She had killed her mother while trying to save her. She had killed another man while trying to save the rest of her family. What more could be taken? She had longed for death before. She longed for it all the more now. Mara, should you ever be able to hear or read these words, know that if I could go back and spare you the pain, I would. But I would do all in my power to prevent this. I am so truly sorry for the hurt I did you and yours. I deserve no forgiveness, and I fear to ask for it. But I will ask for it all the same, that if by some miracle my redemption is possible, I would hear from your lips those words of kindness, when I know I only deserve to be told thus. I am a fraud.